Imagine the dawn on an African savanna where the first human footpaths pointed toward the wider world. Here, our story began. From this cradle, humanity walked, paddled, and sailed to every habitable edge of the earth. We adapted to ice and islands, deserts and forests. And with each new landscape, new tools, new languages, and new ways of life blossomed. These epic journeys of survival prepared our minds for the next great leap, the cultivation of the land. Millennia later, a new dawn breaks over fertile river plains. Foraging slowly gives way to farming, and with it, villages swell into the world's first cities and states. In a bustling courtyard, a scribe's thumb traces marks on a clay tablet, a record of barley and of debt. Writing becomes the city's memory. Law and currency begin to turn strangers into citizens, and with full granaries came questions of meaning and purpose that no harvest alone could answer. This search for meaning gave rise to new philosophies. Under a pine at dusk, a teacher faces a small circle, his breath clouding in the cool air. Great teachings coalesced across the globe: Confucius on harmony, the Buddha on suffering, Socrates on the examined life. They grappled with a timeless question: what holds a community together when the world is changing faster than we can understand? Meanwhile, the world was connecting. On the Indian Ocean, a dhow leans into the monsoon, its cargo rich with the scent of cinnamon. The Silk Roads, desert caravans, and ancient sea lanes carried more than just goods. They carried ideas, stories, and disease. These sprawling networks tied the continents together, loosely at first, until the late 15th century, when the knots began to tighten. Then, sails appeared on the Atlantic horizon, heralding an age of global connection unlike any before. Winds, charts, and chance linked distant shores, setting in motion the great Columbian Exchange. In a European kitchen, a cook adds a strange new spice, a chili, to a stew. On a distant continent, a farmer plants an unfamiliar tuber from across the sea. Silver from the Americas floods global markets, reshaping economies and empires. The ripples of this exchange reach our own plates and paychecks today, a reminder that our world was forged by these first momentous crossings. Soon, flame left the hearth and climbed into the engine. Beginning in the early 1700s, the Enlightenment shifted authority from crowns to evidence, and science moved from the salon to the factory floor. Muscle and wood gave way to coal, steam, and electricity. The tempo of life quickened. Wealth surged, but so did soot and inequality. Empires expanded, and people resisted. This new power, however, outpaced our wisdom. Flags and rival creeds ignited a first, then a Second World War. By 1945, the nuclear age had dawned, and the world held its breath. In the decades that followed, empires crumbled as decolonization swept the globe. Movements for civil rights and women's rights reshaped laws and conscience. The Cold War divided the world, while new alliances offered a fragile hope for peace. Container ships and digital networks connected billions, shrinking our planet. Today, we face global challenges, from climate change to pandemics, that test our interdependence. We edit the very code of life, unlocking cures and confronting new dilemmas. Our story, which began with footprints in the dust, has brought us here. And just ahead, a sharper question awaits. In a world increasingly shaped by artificial intelligence, who will teach the machines that are now beginning to teach us?